What's good, everybody? It's Mdog5 and welcome back to another video. Today we will be ranking the Geometry Dash game modes from worst to best in my personal opinion. We'll be looking at the game modes presented to us in the menu of the game. So for instance, what RobTop made different skins for. I will not be looking at mini or dual versions of the game modes specifically, but maybe factoring their mechanics into my decision for the ranking. So without any further ado, let's get straight into it.
This nigga is trash.
Who the actual fuck coded this into the game? It has the most janky mechanics paired with the new physics of platformer mode. The momentum buildup makes it so that you have to awkwardly finagle your way around objects. There isn't too much else to say about this game mode. It's just horrible in my honest opinion. I think every other game mode ties into platformer mode seamlessly, except for this. Because of the awkward handling and the poor physics, this game mode doesn't really garner much good gameplay, and there's always a feeling of lingering stress when controlling this game mode. If your level isn't centered around very difficult gameplay, I'd avoid using this at all costs.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
This game mode is a piece of shit, to put it bluntly. In my opinion, this is the worst game mode in normal Geometry Dash. Now, people say that it's the least used game mode, which is why people think that it's the worst. Now, this statement used to have validity back in early 2.1 because it was the newest game mode, but that statement lost its validity when RobTop decided that 2.1 would last for 6 years. 6 years is plenty of time to get used to a new game mode, but if the above statement holds true, regardless of update duration, which I think it does, well, there's a reason. And that reason is because this shit fucking sucks! If this is the least used game mode, it's because creators do not put it in their damn levels. Because it's garbage. Basura! For starters, out of all the game modes, the spider is the one you, as the player, has the least control of. Every other game mode has some finesse to it, or natural delay, or accumulation from when you press your input. Now, let's throw all that muscle memory away and add a game mode which instantaneously travels you to the upper or lower portion of the screen. However, there's delay between the time you activate your input and when the action appears on your screen. Now, this isn't a problem, except for when your game is side-scrolling and your game mode is supposed to activate instantaneously. This leads to a nasty intrinsic delay that you must get used to. And when you are made to spam with the spider, because that's really the only gameplay you see with it, it feels like your spider is stuck to whatever platform it's on for a split second, like some sort of weird glue. And like I mentioned, there is no finesse, because you can't input when the spider is in midair. Your spam has to be accurate to when the spider hits a platform. This is usually right before an obstacle, especially on faster speeds and in harder levels. And as I just stated, the only interesting gameplay you can find with this are spams. I mean, you can mesh the spider with different orbs or portals, but none of it changes its gameplay or how you engage with the game mode. This is especially the case since inputting results in the change of its gravity. The only interesting spider section in any level that I've seen was Theory of Everything 3 by Manix, but that part is bugged now thanks to 2.2. I'd like to correct that statement. It's the only unique spider section, not interesting. I have seen cool spider sections being pulled off before. It's not impossible, it's just very rare. I know this is only my opinion, but I think I provided enough evidence as to why I think this is the worst and my least favorite game mode in Geometry Dash. Now I'm putting both the dual ball swing copter and the in-game swing copter here as the same thing. I think the swing copter is a cool game mode, but it just doesn't have much potential. Unlike the spider, you can finesse it, and it allows for cool segments within levels as your field of view becomes a lot wider. With the dual ball swing copter, I always found them pretty cool and a unique way to spice up the level you're playing. From Ultrasonic to Red World to Blade of Justice, I found these sections cool to learn, albeit frustrating at times. With that being said, the in-game swing copter just doesn't have much potential, and it might be worse than the spider. It somehow meshes even worse with portals and orbs than the spider does, and outside of the field of view and cool means of finessing it, it doesn't offer very much. It's actually pretty difficult to maneuver at times. This is due to the delay in which each delay causes the gravity change and the lack of visual cue on when the gravity change occurs. I do think it's a fun game mode, but objectively it doesn't do as much, and is certainly not as integral as the other game modes. Now, a lot of people say that this is the worst game mode in Geometry Dash, and I see where people are coming from. The robot is supposed to be a more sophisticated cube, and when it first came out in 2.0, I loved it. I still kind of like it, but the fact that it invites gameplay to where you either need to hold down super long or micro click doesn't really help its case. I will say that when gameplay doesn't force you to do this, then it's not so bad. But then, what's the point of having the robot? I personally like this game mode, and I think that it shakes up the formula of the game quite a bit, especially since cube is so heavily used. If the level uses the robot correctly, I believe it's a fun change of pace. Portals and orbs work very well with it also, and it makes for some pretty satisfying gameplay at times. When you start to get into levels that don't use the game mode correctly, then I start to see where people are coming from. Others might think it's difficult to make interesting or unique gameplay with the robot, and to that I say, fuck no. Look at the intro to Blade of Justice. Look at... oh, I hate this level so much. Finger Dash V3. Hell, look at Geometrical Dominator. Just don't look at Shardscapes. The BRAWL game mode is one that is pretty versatile. It meshes with orbs and portals the best out of any game mode besides the cube. Furthermore, it provides an intuitive diagonal travel upon clicking. It's also fun getting to know the click patterns for the ball, as putting an input switches your gravity. Now, people have pointed out that it takes a little bit for the ball to reach its maximum speed, as when you switch gravities, it accelerates in midair. I do see this point, but I don't think it affects the game mode as much as some people might think. The only problem I have with the ball is when you're forced to spam with it at high speeds. This abuses the acceleration issue we were just talking about. It makes the ball, particularly the mini ball, feel so unresponsive, like the mini ball section from Bloodbath or Ultrasonic. Other than that, the ball is a pretty solid game mode. Now, a lot of people have their torches and pitchforks out for me almost putting the UFO in the top 3. Now listen, the UFO is a simple game mode. You press your input and the UFO bounces before it either heads towards the ground or the ceiling, depending on your gravity. It meshes very well with orbs and super well with portals. And the thing I appreciate about the UFO is the skill involved. The UFO forces you to understand the level or the section of the level, because as long as you follow a specific click pattern, you will pass the section every single time. And that's what I like about it. Although the parts in UFO sections can be hard and sometimes annoying, like every other game mode, the UFO is arguably the most reliable game mode. Either that or the cube. Like I said, if you click correctly on the UFO, you will pass the part every single time. Obviously, that's the case with every other game mode, but for the UFO, all you're doing is clicking. Not clicking and holding, not spamming, you're just clicking. To me, it's so satisfying learning the 1-2, 1-2s of each part. Now, I will admit, if done incorrectly, the UFO parts in a level can be super annoying. Like Michigan's fucking part in Bloodbath. This is one of the worst parts in any level I've ever played. But when done correctly, it's awesome. I mean, look at Insanity by Sir Punj. The number one criticism that I see with the game mode is that it doesn't work in practice mode. Boy, if you don't blame Rob Top, the fuck? The most integral mode in the entire game, the mode that started it all. The cube is not only top 3 because of its simplicity that sparked innovation for the sake of gameplay diversity, it's also up here because it's a great foundation to return to amidst all the other game modes. It's the first game mode players are introduced to, making it one of the most comfortable game modes. It meshes the best with obstacles, orbs, and portals, granting the basic game mode the potential for super intricate gameplay. It also has a high difficulty ceiling, like with Silent Clubstep and Acheron's Beginnings as an example. It also makes frame perfect inputs easy to discern from a visual standpoint, but you don't even need frame perfect jumps to bring out the difficulty of this game mode. Jumping over a triple spike, no matter how long you've been playing, is always a butt clenching experience. In conclusion, the cube is the foundation of the entire game, and it meshes the best with orbs and other portals, which is why it's in the top 3. Most people's favorite game mode comes in at number 2 on the list. It's no surprise why people put this game mode at the top of their list. It's because it's so damn fun. Something about being able to move in midair while skillfully dodging obstacles by moving the wave horizontally resonates with a lot of the community. This game mode is so catchy that entire portions of levels dedicate themselves entirely for the wave, such as 9 circles levels. This is a testament to how well the game mode works, as entire large sections of levels can be dedicated to solely one game mode. I mean, that's saying something. This is a double-edged sword, however, because a lot of the level's difficulty can come in the form of strictly the wave sections. Zukupen Circles, a current top 15 level and a former top 1 level, is notorious for its cube, ship, and ball section leading up to the wave being shockingly easy compared to the wave section that follows it. The current hardest challenge level, VSC, is entirely wave based. Also, when in 4 times speed, the wave becomes pretty unresponsive, which is a big reason as to why CBF is such a game changer in my opinion. The game mode is also consistent. You click and there's no momentum. Therefore, if you hold for a certain amount of time, which causes the wave to rise, it will take that same amount of time for it to go back down and reach its previous position. It's also part of the reason why you can develop a particular skill set for just the wave alone, and why some people are vastly better at wave than all of the other game modes. For these reasons, I have to say that the wave is the second best game mode in Geometry Dash, and it's my personal favorite. And of course, that leaves us with the ship, the best game mode in the game in my personal opinion. This is the second game mode introduced to the player and is the most natural to learn aside from the cube. Its high skill ceiling is similar to that of the wave, but feels more important and like a more fundamental process of getting good at the game. This is because the mode does an excellent job of showing where you're at in terms of your skill with the ship through its visuals. Is your ship movement shaky? How long can you keep a straight fly for? How consistent is your straight fly? Are you able to perform curved straight flies or diagonal flights? A lot of what we look for is progress when playing Geometry Dash, and the ship is the only game mode where you can see how good or bad you are at it by just playing. Now, entire sections may not be able to be dedicated to just the ship like it can the wave, suggesting that it isn't as fun, but that comes with the bonus of it being much more versatile than the wave, as the wave cannot interact well with orbs and gravity portals, while the ship can. And before you get mad at me for saying the wave doesn't work well with portals, how many of you are doing clicks like these? That's why a gravity change in the wave usually results in a hold where your gravity is reverted shortly afterwards. That's why Jawbreaker exists. The versatility in the ship makes it so that the ship is super fun for small periods of time instead of long ones, like the wave. It also has an extremely high skill ceiling, just like the wave, while being able to mesh better with the objects in the game. Although slightly less consistent than the wave, it gives the player its control over said consistency with the delicate balance of tapping and holding required. All in all, in my eyes, the ship is the best game mode in Geometry Dash.